those who write this type of amazing fiction, it helps at least to have an interesting life. And George Orwell had a crazy life. I mean, he was in wars and saw just about everything and lived in a bunch of different places. Isn't it harder to be someone who just sits in a cabin and comes up with a story than someone who maybe lived things and puts that in their story?
That's a really interesting question. And I think when you look at the biographies of these 58 writers that have included, most of them did lead rather extraordinary lives in many respects. As I mentioned, some of them were very troubled people, troubled marriages, troubled questions of their sexual identity, a lot of alcoholism and depression, to be honest. And certainly you look at somebody like Ernest Hemingway. Speaking of living through wars, the man lived through World War I as a ambulance attendant, then covered World War II, went to Spain during the Spanish Civil War and covered that. Lived this very, very large life, and that fed into all of his fiction. Hemingway is included. He is one of 11 Nobel Prize winners who are in the book. But then you have someone, for instance, like Nadine Gordimer, didn't necessarily go to war. She's a brilliant South African novelist, also a Nobel Prize winner. But her life was lived under apartheid. Although she is white, she was very much involved in the anti-apartheid movement, actually helped Nelson Mandela write a speech that he delivered when he was on trial. So all of these writers have experiences that certainly feed into their fiction. And that's why I say that reading these books and then reading the stories of these writers is truly an education, as far as I'm concerned.